Welcome to Escaping Purgatory, a podcast where we rewatch Supernatural, then talk it through in the hopes we can finally escape this show.
Join us each week, leave comments on upcoming episodes, and together we can escape Supernatural Purgatory.
Hello.
Hiya.
We are back. Oh, I mean, we said each week, but we're actually changing it, aren't we, to every other week? But that's okay.
That's true, yeah. I guess we should say something about that. It's like, I don't know what you want to say about it. I guess just due to our own scheduling conflicts, we're putting out episodes every other week for a little bit. It might stay like that, depending on how well we go. But we'll see. Yeah,
exactly. But we still like doing this. We still want to give you like episodes. So it's just with our timing, we just has to be every other week.
Yeah, which, I mean, I hope people are understanding, and I know a lot of podcasts do that. I think we put out really long episodes too.
We do. We can talk.
Yeah, that's one thing I've discovered doing this is like, yeah, I don't shut up, do I?
But like you get in a groove and you just have to keep going with your point. And as much as some of our points probably don't really go anywhere, they need to be expressed.
I need to put it out there. I just need people to know how I feel about this particular show.
And hopefully, not be so angry at it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. And on reflection, I mean, we're already going on a tangent here, so we might as well go with it. I don't know if my anger is fading, because I thought it was for a bit. Like, I had a little, reflection on, do I care about Supernatural anymore? And then they cancelled the Winchesters, and I was like, I do care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm mad about that, actually. Even though I didn't know that. It. Did you not know?
No, I didn't know they cancelled it. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I don't think they got the viewership that they wanted.
Yeah. Well, there's a campaign at the moment to #Save the Winchesters.
Mm-hmm.
So people are on it. I think they're hoping they will get picked up. Yeah. I mean, if you've missed all of this, so Gents Pal video basically saying we want to save this show and put it somewhere else. So they have I think they said they have 5 seasons that they want to do.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense as to why, Misha pushes the Gotham Knights every week. I'm on his text line.
Yeah.
And every week you'd get a text message saying, hey, go watch Gotham Knights. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Well, the CW are cancelling everything other than reality shows at the moment because it's cheaper than paying writers to write scripts.
Yeah, that's probably what it is, isn't it? Yeah, I forgot about the writer's strike.
Yeah, and they've been going in that direction for a while, I feel. So I think they dropped, as far as I know, the Winchesters and Walker Independence has also been dropped. And there was something else as well. But yeah, so everything's coming, all the scripted shows. And that's just the way things are going, right? People don't want to pay people for their labour, so...
Which sucks.
This got political real quick.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's really frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Though, I mean, I still haven't finished the Winchesters. I said that I would last time we recorded. So I'm still quite far behind.
But I guess we're not here to talk about the Winchesters at the moment. We are here to talk about My Bloody Valentine. Yes. I was just going to call it Bloody Valentine. I couldn't remember the name of this episode for a second there. Yeah, we're on season 5, episode 14, and this is a doozy. I've watched this one a few times.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised that you watched it a few times. It is your boy, written by your boy.
It is Mr. Ben Edlund. Yeah, it's got his little thingy prints all over this episode, really.
It does, yeah. It's directed by Mike Roll. I really liked what he did with this episode, actually. I thought visually it was very, very, like, it's quite striking, actually. Some of the, like, the framing of their faces and stuff. Like, and also, you know, the implication of a naked Cupid. Well done.
Yeah. No, I like this episode. It feels dark and gritty without almost being dark and gritty. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it had the like I said, the feel of it. Like the opening scene was really visceral without really being visceral. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciated that. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to see it. The implication is enough.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. This is the only time that I appreciate it being on the CW, because on HBO we would have seen the bodies after.
That's true. Yeah.
We would have seen everything, and I don't need that visual. I don't need it.
No, the description was enough. Like, ooh,
yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I guess we can jump into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds good. So the recap is the introduction of War and how they killed War, or got rid of War. I don't know if they really killed him, by removing his finger with the ring on it. We also have War, like, taunting Sam with the demon blood. We have parts of the real Ghostbusters where Dean is, like, ranting about how the supernatural story is not good. Like, it's actually really, it's not fun, it's not entertaining.
Yeah.
Then we have a lot from Sam Interrupted, where Dean is saying, you know, I have to save everybody, and the doc is like, well, how can you do that? And he's like, well, I'm just, you know. And then he admits being tired from abandon all hope. And then we cut to the episode, like, now. And we see this man and lady, and they're obviously concluding a date. And they're kind of cutely awkward, right?
Yeah. You get the vibe that it's like, it's definitely their first date, right?
Yes.
And they maybe haven't been, like, dating for a while. Or, like, maybe this is, like, the first time they've ever been on a date with someone. It's, like, cute.
It is. It's really, really quite adorable. And they, like, have, like, a sweet goodnight kiss, and then it gets a little bit more intense, and then gets more and more intense, and they sort of take it inside, and they're making out quite vigorously up against her, I guess it's her house. Yeah, I think it's her house, by the fridge. And she then, like, bites his neck, like, not like a cute, playful, ha ha, I just bit you. No, like a full, like, I'm tearing a piece of your flesh off of you kind of bite. And it's like, he doesn't mind it either, because he does the same thing to her. And then they just sort of start biting at each other and, like, get quite into it. Like we said, very visceral. There's a lot of blood everywhere. It's kind of gross. Well, not kind of gross. It is gross. I think my favorite line from this is where he said, like, says Russell and Alice, and Russell says, I respect the crap out of you right now, as they're, like, getting naked.
No, I agree. That's a great line. Yeah. I think because they were clearly, like, I don't think either of them were going into that situation thinking they were going to, like, have sex. So
no,
he was trying to be, like, all respectful and, like, nice, and then because of this whole thing, the situation they're in. It's a good. I like it a lot. It's a good opening to the episode. Very zombie-like. It's like, yum 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 yum.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So of course, like, Sam and Dean come to investigate this, and so we get them talking to her roommate, and she found what was left of these people. She's like, oh yeah, this is the worst bit, where she's like, I think Alice is already dead, but Russell was still sort of chewing a little bit. It's nasty. So, like, they ask sort of typical questions, like, were they acting weird before this happened? And she's like, no, not really. Like, Alice was very, what you would call, like, straight-laced, I guess. Didn't drink, never swore, like, just very nice. Oh, she had a promise ring. So, yeah, nothing weird. And then Sam and Dean, like, meet back up again at their motel room, and they sort of talk, Sam's got food, that's why they split up. And when Dean asks, he's like, well, there's nothing. I can't find anything. Like, no EMF, no sulfur. They both thought it was going to be demons, which makes sense. Like, apocalypse.
Yeah.
Like, maybe demons possessed these two people that ate each other, like, for kicks.
Yeah. Who knows? Demons are weird.
Yeah, exactly. And then Dean went to the coroner's office to go, like, see the bodies, and he's just like, it was bad for Dean because he's, like, rubbing his eyes, like, he visually wants to get an image out of them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they basically ate each other. And then, like, so Sam then makes a comment of, like, okay, well, we're done for the day. Like, go unleash the Kraken. Which, because it's Valentine's Day, he's like, oh, it's your favorite holiday, Dean. What do you call it? Unattached Drifter Christmas. And Dean's just like, yeah, I don't really fancy, like, going out and meeting women tonight. And it's the whole thing. Like, Sam makes it a whole thing.
He does.
Like, what's wrong with you? The thing that he says is really kind of demeaning, but also kind of true. It's like,
what? That's when a dog doesn't eat. That's when you know something's really wrong.
Remarkably patronizing concern, duly noted. Nothing's wrong.
But it's true.
It's true, right? Dean's not acting, I guess, like himself, but I would argue that Dean hasn't acted like himself, I say in quotation marks, since he came back from hell.
This is very true. Yeah.
So I'm not sure why Sam is, like, particularly picking up on it now. I mean, I know it's for the episode to make a big deal out of, like, where's your wine, women in... I mean, Dean's still drinking here. He's still having a beer. He's eating. He's just not going out and having sex with women. So
that's true. I guess the way that I was looking at it is like, well, he's already found his true love. Like,
right.
Like, why would you go on the town when you know that you can't get close to the person that you truly love?
Okay, or like are at least attracted to, because they make the whole point of, like, Dean not being interested in going out and, like, seeing women, and then spends the whole episode basically with Cass. But fine,
with Cass and worried about Cass.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I just feel like his relationship with Cass just puts all his other trysts, I guess, and relationships in a different light when you rewatch the show.
Yeah.
It is interesting. So they just continue working then. Dean stays in the motel. So we cut to this guy in an office, and he's working late, and it's, like, constantly, like, checking his phone as he's working, and his co-worker is like, like, checking on your lady checking on you. So this guy, he's constantly checking his phone, is being, like, bothered by his co-worker to basically get his work finished, where he's too busy, like, looking out for his lady friend. And he makes the comment that, like, he only, like, just met this woman, so why is he so obsessed with her? Eventually she turns up. First of all, and this is kind of mean, but also, like, I feel like needs to be said, this woman is extremely attractive, and this guy is just, like, a very average looking guy. Did you not think that?
Yeah, no, I felt the same way. Yeah, that was... Cupid was being very kind to that man.
Yeah, I mean, fine, but, like, that's absolutely fine. You find attractive who you find attractive. But yeah, he was punching above his weight, as they say.
For sure.
But she turns up like mascara, like streaked down her face. She's like, where were you? We can't be apart. And eventually, I guess because they're so obsessed with each other, she shoots him and then shoots herself. I think that's what happens in that one.
So she says that she can't, like, you can't choose work over me. So she shoots the co-worker.
Yes.
And then she shoots her, like, now that we're going to be separated because of prison. So she kills herself and then I guess hands the gun over to him and like shoots him. He shoots himself.
Yeah. It's really confusing. Like this whole... Yeah. I feel like... No, I was like, I don't know if this one was a good example of how, because I'm going to like spoil, say like how famine works in this way. Like I guess the obsession thing, it kind of is, but they just need this to lead into the Cupid bit. It didn't like feel the same as the... I don't know. I think it's because all the other examples in the episode are people like actually consuming something.
Yeah. There was kind of like a throwaway line of like, I think it's Cass who says it, something like the need for love. So that's kind of where this kind of is. Yeah, but I agree with you. The example of famine in this doesn't really work.
Yeah, because I hadn't watched this one in a while, and I almost expected her to like start eating him in front of his co-worker. But yeah, then she just like shoots him. So it does work. Like, yeah, I guess the obsession kind of thing is a type of famine, hunger for someone else. Yeah.
So maybe it's hunger for attention.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, that makes sense.
So maybe it's that instead. But it doesn't really lend itself to the like double suicide though. Not really.
I don't know. It was just a I don't know. It just didn't feel as cohesive, I think, as the other examples of like Cass eating and the two at the beginning. But it does get Sam and Dean to investigate, and they go back to the like medical center, and they talk to the coroner again, who is this like sweet old guy.
Yes, he's like my favorite character in this entire this entire episode. Yeah,
he's just like great, and he's really sarcastic because he's like, haha, you just can't stay away, hey, from and they ask him about the people that just came in. And, I've got it all set up, like, have a look at the bodies if you want to.
Their good and plenties are already Tupperware.
Super.
This is a brand new sentence.
Yep.
And he leaves them with the bodies. When he's gone, Dean like turns to Sam with one of the hearts and he's like, hey, be my Valentine. Which you think like no one would ever do this, but I have done heart dissections with children, and people get real comfortable real quick with like doing stuff like this. Yeah.
I guess like when it's this, like the actual organ outside of the body, I think is fine, but it's when you have to like take it out of the body. That's where it gets.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's why people find it weird. But during my like degree, I had to do some dissections, but it's always of like organs like outside the body, like this kind of thing, like in Tupperware. And some people were just not okay. Like, and we're talking like adults here, like people. Well, I guess like early 20s. Yeah. And we were doing one once, just like a sheep's brain, and the person next to me, they had the hand on the scalpel, and it was just like shaking so much, and I was just like,
hilarious.
Yeah, I just said like, do you want me to do it? Like, I'll happily do it. Like, it's fine. Like, just, it's fine. It's not like we were training to be doctors or anything. So like if they didn't ever want to do this again, they wouldn't have to. So it wasn't like taking away their learning experience. But yeah, it's really funny because like it doesn't bother me at all. And then to see people who like I respect them, but it's also a little bit funny. poor guy. It's funny. Anyway, yeah. And then this has got to be one of my favourite scenes in Supernatural, and it's meme to death, and I still love it. So Sam notices that both of the hearts have identical marks on them, and he recognises it as a Nokian. So Dean's like, oh, okay, I'm going to ring Cass. So he rings him on his phone. I'm doing the action while I'm talking to Annabelle. I just want you all to know that. So Dean describes where they are. He says Cass is Dean, like it's room 31C, basement level, St. James's Medical Centre. And then like the camera pans and Cass is like, I'm there now. And he's like, almost nose to nose with Dean.
Yeah, I get that. I'm gonna hang up now. Right.
I love it. I don't. The thing is, this has happened to everybody, right? Where you've gone to meet a friend and then they're like, I'm just around the corner, and then you see them and they're like, yeah, I can see you. It's like, okay, right, yeah, okay, I'm gonna hang up now because I can literally see you.
But I guess the difference is that usually, like, yeah, you're within like seeing distance, but like it's not face to face distance.
Like, so just the directing in this is so good. Like the camera pan to Cass and then the framing of them so close together. I don't know. It's a nice shot. It's good. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Cass confirms that the hearts do have a Nokian on and they were made by a Cupid. Well, he says, well, what you people call a Cupid.
So one minor detail that I really loved about this, when Cass is holding that, like he holds the heart, puts it down, he's got his hands are covered in blood. Yeah. He like wipes his hands on the side of the Tupperware to get the blood off.
I did notice that, like, yeah.
I don't know why I like that detail so much, but I really did.
It makes me wonder if that was a Cass like thing or a Misha thing. True. Just that action of like, yuck. Because whatever they've made these, I mean, they might have just literally, they probably are like pig's hearts, right? Because they're quite easy to get for stuff like this. So they probably were like kind of gross. I think that's
true.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice that as well. It was great. So Cass explains that Cupids are a lower order of angel, technically a cherub third class. I wish at some point in Supernatural they'd actually explained the hierarchy of angels.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Anybody who used to listen to Welcome to Night Vale, that phrase hierarchy of angels is instantly like, you're not allowed to discuss the hierarchy of angels. There's like a whole thing.
I forgot about that.
And Cass is like, yeah, there's loads of them. There's dozens of them. And Dean's confused. He says,
you mean the little flying fat kid in diapers? They're not incontinent.
So they think that a Cupid has gone rogue and is now killing couples, which makes sense from what they've seen so far in this case. So they go to a restaurant. The waitress brings Dean a cheeseburger and Sam gets his normal salad. We've slowly started to see this separation of their food preferences, which is quite fun.
Yeah.
Because they used to just eat the same thing.
Yeah.
So Cass explains that this restaurant is a nexus of human reproduction. Which, why has no one named a bar that?
Right?
He gets worse. Like, he says, it's a kind of garden the Cupid will come to pollinate. And during this exchange, Cass is watching very closely Dean put sauce on his burger, like zeroing in. And then Dean doesn't eat it. Like he gets it all ready to eat, and then he's like, you kind of see him like pick it up, and he does that thing where he like turns the burger like to find the best like biting bit, and he's just like, ugh, and puts it down. And when Sam's like, oh, you're not hungry, Cass then picks up the burger.
Then you're not going to finish that.
I guess if you're watching this the first time, seeing Cass eat was probably more shocking because he's an angel. Like, what's he doing?
And I also wonder if anybody actually picks up on the fact that he doesn't eat. Because I don't know if they've really been in any situation. Because the last time that we saw Cass in sort of like a normal situation, he was having like drinks with Ellen and Joe, and then drinks with Dean in the last Ben Edlund episode, actually.
Yeah, that's true. That man just likes to make Misha eat and drink on camera.
Apparently, yeah. I don't know if it would have registered, actually, that he hasn't eaten anything.
That's true, yeah. I wonder what the speculation was at the time. I mean, obviously he's been cut off from heaven, so like maybe you could count it as like that he's falling, so getting more human. I don't know. I mean, it gets answered in this episode in the same place that it's questioned, like why is he eating?
Sure.
So it's like, yeah. I mean, actually, I think he takes it here, but he doesn't actually eat it because he doesn't get a chance to. I think he just like takes. I think he just takes it.
Yeah, he just takes it.
Because he's spotted the Cupid and they go to the back room. Cass gets this like weirdly intense look and he's like, I have him tethered, and then does some Enochian spell, and the Cupid appears hugging Dean. Completely naked.
Completely naked. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's very good.
So I like how it comes back from the commercial when it's just like, help! And Cupid's like, oh, help is on the way. Yes, hello, you. And like this isn't just like a normal like hug. This was a bear hug where you lift him off the ground kind of thing. He then does the same thing with Cass.
Yeah.
And turns to Sam and says, oh, look at you. And like Sam's like, oh no, and like backs away. And he doesn't just back away, he backs and turns away, but then the Cupid's like right in front of him, and then he gives him a bear hug that way too.
Is this a fight? Are we in a fight?
Like, no, Dean, it's a hug.
Yeah, it's a hug. It's fine.
You actually give them out quite often. It's just a hug. Yes, it's a naked man hugging you, but it is just a hug. So, do Cupids have to get vessels?
Oh gosh.
Because he says manifest yourself. So I think they just have, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to say no. I think. Because I assume that Cupids are always on Earth. Like, they don't go back to heaven. So maybe they wouldn't need a vessel. But who knows?
Who knows? And who's to say that they didn't have, like, they do need a vessel, but their vessel just lives forever.
That's true. I mean, I think a vessel would live forever if you were an angel, if you decided to just keep it.
Yeah, I would think so.
I think so. It makes sense.
This is their handshake. I don't like it. No one likes it.
So the Cupid asks them, what can I help with? Like, and they instantly get hostile again. And he's like, why are you doing this? And he's like, doing what? And he says, your targets, the ones you've marked, they're slaughtering each other. Dean says, listen, birthday suit. We know, okay? We know you've been flitting around, popping people with your poison arrow, making them murder each other. And the Cupid gets really upset. It's like, you think I would do this, but I don't know what to say. And like he turns away and like kind of almost cries in a corner kind of thing, but like kind of awkwardly. And then the three of them back away, and Sam's like, should somebody go maybe talk to him? And he's like, yeah, that's a good idea, and sends Cass in, and Cass doesn't really help. He gets another hug from the Cupid. And the Cupid says, like, love is more than a word to me. I love love. I love it. And if it's wrong, then I don't want to be right. the Cupid says, I'm just doing my job, basically. If you don't believe me, look, read my mind. And they do this shot of like the Cupid's eyes and Cass's eyes, as if like that's how you mind read, but sure. And Cass confirms that, yes, he's telling the truth. And Dean's like, wait, you're just following orders. And he says, whose orders? And it's like, well, heaven's, obviously.
Yeah.
Why does heaven care if Harry meets Sally?
Oh, mostly they don't. You know, certain bloodlines, certain destinies. Oh, like yours.
Like, he recognizes who they are.
Yeah.
So, and he also explains that, like, the John and Mary Winchester was a big deal, top priority. And he wasn't the Cupid that did it, but apparently they didn't even like each other at first until they made them the perfect couple. And Dean's like, well, the perfect? They're dead.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got nothing to do with being a perfect couple, but okay.
Yeah.
Cupid, as much as he loves love, I think that's the only emotion he really knows, love and sadness. Because he's not really, he's like, I'm sorry, those are the orders. They're very clear. Like, he's not really compassionate, I guess is the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
He says, your parents were just meant to be a match made in heaven. And then Dean punches the Cupid and the Cupid disappears.
Yeah, because he's punched Has he punched Cass yet? Where he like shakes his hand out to know that I think he has, right? Where he's like, ow. Yeah, he definitely has.
Yeah, in the green room.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he should know. I mean, this is a huge revelation that is kind of glossed over.
Yes.
That like, well, I mean, I guess we know that the bloodlines thing, right? We know the bloodlines thing now. So of course, there must have been some manipulation for that bloodline to continue. But I guess saying it out loud, I mean,
I guess the thing that should really stick out is that saying that like your parents couldn't even stand each other until we stepped in. Yeah. Like the whole reason why you exist is because we interfered. Otherwise you probably would never have been born.
And it just goes into the like this concept in Supernatural of consent. Like John and Mary didn't consent to their relationship really because heaven manipulated them into loving each other.
That's true.
And it makes me wonder, when Mary comes back, do they ever tell her this? I wish they did, almost. But like at the same time, you don't want her to know because she does love John because heaven manipulated it that way.
Yeah.
But it also would make sense if she knew that, why she put so much distance between them when she comes back and tries to live her own life. Kind of picks up her life maybe where it left off before she met John.
Do you think with Amara bringing her back, her like Enochian mark on her heart from Cupid is gone?
Maybe. I mean, yeah, it possibly. Lebanon like had so many questions around it when like John comes back that one time. Like, oh, okay. But like, it would be really interesting to explore that. Like, does she still love John when she comes back? Does heaven still have an effect on her emotions? Or does she just feel affection for the man that she lived with for so long? Because you would, right? You would still...
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
I think so.
Yeah. It's really... This is what I mean. Like, this is a huge concept that apparently there's meddling by heaven to make people love each other, like predestination.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's not really ever mentioned again. Ever. Other than the fact that they've manipulated this bloodline to have Dean be Michael's vessel. Mm-hmm. And obviously Sam was Lucifer's vessel. It also plays into, people talk about, Cass and Dean's love being outside of the narrative and being like a manifestation of free will. Well, them kind of getting together outside of a Cupid's influence as well, like adds to that whole storyline as well.
Especially with essentially what would happen is that each couple in their family tree, which is probably affected by Cupid.
Yeah, so there's like, there's Henry and
Millie.
Millie, thank you. And then Deanna and Samuel. And they surely would have been got together by Cupids too. Ah, yes,
Yeah.
it's frustrating because there's all this subtext in Supernatural that's like, it's there. And like, you can kind of just sort of peek the story that's like underneath the surface. And then it's just never explored. But
yeah.
I think that's maybe what they were trying to hope to do with some of the Winchester stuff. Like because I think this is the kind of bit that maybe interested them when they were talking about the storyline. But yeah, anyway. It's interesting.
It definitely is, yeah. So we then go back to the medical center and the coroner saying, you wanted to hear about the weird ones, and that's this guy whose stomach is like completely extended. It's really gross.
Yeah.
Or distended rather.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor explains that like the guy used to be very overweight. He was 400 pounds until he got a gastric bypass, which made him come back to reasonable weight. But then the night before he decided to go on a Twinkie binge.
Mm-hmm.
And after he had destroyed the stomach bands, and he could no longer swallow, he carried on stuffing the Twinkies down his throat with a toilet brush.
Oh.
I guess he suffocated. I guess that's the implication, that he just suffocated to death.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, famine, as bad as famine is, I mean, this sounds awful. All these people, kind of, the people at the very beginning, they were, eating each other, but they were, really happy doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine the Twinkie guy was also yeah, it's really like Twinkies, man.
That's true. That's very true.
They didn't seem, in distress. I mean, the second one where they, shoot people, they seemed quite distressed. But, yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your thing for famine?
Oh, what would be my thing for famine? Good question. Oh, it would be cake.
Oh, man, I love cake.
Or it would be brownies, cake, cake.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing, something really starchy, and yeah.
I don't know what I really like these sour cream and onion crisps. I've already eaten a whole packet before to the point where my tongue hurts, so I feel like that would be my thing.
So yours is crisps, mine is cake.
Yeah,
so we need to keep
healthy.
those things away. Well, in comparison, I think it's fine. If you compare some of the things that were in this episode.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's okay. I mean, I guess I'm on par with this guy who shoved Twinkies down his throat with a toilet brush. So, but why a toilet brush? I don't quite get that one. I guess maybe it's the longest thing that he owned. Wouldn't you just use a wooden spoon or something?
Big spoon, ladle,
anything other than this toilet brush. What?
Why is there go to the bathroom to get it when he's clearly already in the kitchen?
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Or how would you actually find that many Twinkies without being in a store? Right? Surely he was maybe the Twinkie aisle was next to the toilet brush aisle.
That's true. We don't know where he died, so it could have been at a shop, and he could have just been. No, but somebody would have stopped him. If he was out
you think someone would
surely.
stop it? Yeah. The logic does make sense.
Yeah. No. And we see the doctor. He takes a drink from a flask. Sam's then outside of the medical center and he's on the phone with Dean. And he says that this guy was not marked by Cupid, but his death was definitely suspicious. Dean also confirms that, there's been a lot of other things. There's been 8 suicides since Wednesday, which we don't know what day of the week this is, so it could be a day, it could be almost 7 days, who knows? And 19 ODs, which is outside of the average. Sam says there's a pattern, and it's not just love, it's a lot bigger than that. And Sam's like, you hear this sort of tinnitus ring, and Sam like rubs his head, and he's like, he's got a headache. They end the phone call, and Sam's like tracking this guy who's in a black suit holding a briefcase, and like he can almost hear this guy's like heartbeat. So he decides to follow him, and then they fight, and he cuts him with the Ruby's knife, and he's like sparks, so it's clearly a demon. And he's like, I could smell you. I was like, oh, that's a bit intense, Sam. So they continue to fight, and he gets the upper hand, and the demon drops the briefcase. They're back in the motel room, and Dean's like, what the hell does the demon got to do with this? And he says, I don't know. And they decide to open the briefcase, which, how do they, like, when you look at, when they do a close-up of the like locks, which is the ones which you turn, which are usually numbers, but they're like symbols.
Yeah.
How did they know what the symbols were?
Maybe that's a deleted scene where they like figure it out. But I mean, this was clearly like a Pulp Fiction reference, right?
Yeah, it must be. Because they open up the briefcase, and there's a bright shining light.
What the hell was that?
It's a human soul. It's starting to make sense.
As he takes a bite of a burger. Obviously, everybody knows this story. Misha is actually eating every single one of these. In every one of these shots, he swallows the food.
I love it because whenever they talk about this, they do it in the most inappropriate terms possible. And they know they're doing it. You can see their faces.
Yeah.
Still funny.
And maybe because it, like, now that I remember the context of this episode, maybe it's because of the context of this episode. Like, the couple at the beginning. I don't know.
I think he eventually had to be told that he could spit out the burger. Oh, it must have been so sick by the end of that day.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't even imagine. So Dean asks, when did you start eating? And Cass like, exactly, my hunger. It's a clue, actually. The town is not suffering from some love gone wrong effect. It's suffering from hunger, starvation to be exact. Specifically, famine. Sam is like, famine? As in the horseman? Yes, Sam.
Such a good Sam impression.
And Sam said, I thought famine meant starvation, like as in food.
Not just food. I mean, everyone seems to be starving for something. Sex, attention, drugs.
And obviously that explains what happens with the people with Cupid. It makes them crave love, and then famine came in and made them rabid for it. Dean asks why are you eating so much, like, and Cass explains that it's his vessel, Jimmy. It's his appetite for red meat has been touched by famine. I thought Jimmy was dead.
I feel like it's like a sort of, was like muscle memory of the vessel, I think. And I don't know why, I just thought this. It would have been so much funnier if it was spaghetti. Because we saw that one time where like Jimmy was boiling spaghetti and he put his hand in it. And I just feel like I would have liked to have seen him eat handfuls and handfuls of spaghetti.
I guess it's, in terms of like, it's much harder to get spaghetti to go.
It really is.
But it also begs the question, is he buying all of this? And how?
No, Cass is definitely 100% stealing those burgers.
But he's got the bag and everything.
Yeah, stealing them from people who bought them. He's like, I'm saving you from yourself.
Yoink. So Cass quotes something. I don't know what he's quoting. I guess a Bible verse or maybe, or...
Is it just Revelations? I think it's just Revelations.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I don't know. I've never read it, so... he quotes, and then come famine, riding on a black steed, he will ride into the land of plenty. And as he's saying this quote, we're getting like shots of these like massive Cadillac kind of thing, large SUVs. And like famine gets carried out by a demon because he's like all.
He looks like he's starving himself. Yeah.
And so Cass continues, says, and great will be the horseman's hunger, for he is hunger. We see them, like Famine and the demons, enter Biggerson's, and Cass continues saying, his hunger will seep out and poison the air. And as they come into the restaurant, we see everybody like start to stuff their faces, and like the waitress is like stuffing money into her bra. The worst one for me is when the fry cook or the cook in the back puts his hands into the deep fat fryer and like starts eating all the fries out of it. That's
nasty. Yeah,
that was really gross. I really hated that.
I also don't believe that a fry cook would crave fries. I feel like you're around them too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then he explains that Famine is hungry and he will devour the souls of his victims. So the briefcase, that explains the briefcase. It had the Twinkies guy's soul.
Oh, poor Twinkie guy.
Yeah. So Lucifer has sent his demons to care for Famine. To make sure he'll be ready to march across the land to cause this chaos across everywhere. And then we go back to the Biggersons, and the demon that was fighting with Sam earlier enters, and he explains that Sam Winchester's in the town, and Fam's like, good, that's good, because he found the motel key and he wants to know where the soul is, and he says like he dropped the soul. So instead, Famine eats. Like Famine, the way that you said this before, and you're correct that Famine doesn't get as much recognition for his role, because it's a mixture of being like really childlike but like terrifying.
Yeah.
Because he's like hungry now and like just raises his hand and like pulls the demon soul out.
Yeah. He's actually like scary. Like, I don't know. It's just, I think it's just the way they did his makeup and everything as well, and the way he holds his body. And yeah, you're like that childlike, almost demanding food. He did a really good job, I think. Yeah. And also like kind of fits, like if you kind of look at the Horsemen like side by side, he kind of fits in with like Julian Riching's aesthetic, I think, as well. So I don't know. Like you said, I think it's because he's only in one episode that he didn't get as much recognition for his acting as one of the Horsemen. I mean, War was very meh. We didn't see him for like 2 seconds and he gets his like finger chopped off. Yeah. I know I like make direct comparisons between this and Good Omens, but I'm going to do it again. I like the fact they chose a fast food place for Famine. They do the same thing in Good Omens as well. But in the book, Famine has basically like manipulated the world around him. So basically like they've created new food stuff that looks like fast food but actually has like 0 nutritional value. So you can like eat as much as you want, but you're like still going to be absolutely like starving by the end of your meal. And there's another one as well where he like takes his assistant or whatever to like a gourmet restaurant where they like serve like tiny food. And he's like, this is like the best food ever. Like all these people around me eating and still hungry. So it's almost like, I quite like that. And they did kind of use like their symbols as well. Like their symbols here are their rings in Supernatural. But like in Good Omens, it's like the sword, the scale, crown, etc. as like their power that if you take it away from them, that's not there anymore. I don't know. The influence is so clearly there for me in these episodes where we see the Horsemen. It's like, yeah, you're just cribbing off Good Omens, aren't you? Mr. Crib. I mean, I don't know how else you do a modern version of the Horsemen, to be fair. Like, you know, they are quite tied into their identities, but it's interesting. We'll get to it eventually, but like even Death is snarky, like Death is, like Terry Pratchett's Death is. They're different characters, but I don't know. The fact that sort of like affable, sort of kind of joke with you a bit. I don't know. But this one made me think of it just because of the like the fast food bit, though this is obviously more like graphic. Famine in Good Omens is not like making people eat stuff out of a deep fat fryer.
I can't remember what happens to the rings in this, because Billy doesn't have a death ring. She only has like the scythe.
It's a major plot point.
Okay.
But you'll be forgiven for overlooking it.
Because I was like, why is it only death that persists? And because the thing with these horsemen is that they are things that exist in the world, but they just exaggerate them. Mm-hmm. So war exists, but he can create war amongst people very easily. Mm-hmm. Famine exists because of hunger, like, you know, just the way the world is, and he exacerbates it as well. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, by eliminating these horsemen, do they eliminate it in the world? And obviously they don't, because I mean, Supernatural doesn't touch on any of these political like ideologies ever. But you know, it makes me think, because death never goes away, because it becomes Billy. So I don't know. Yeah.
And again, like, I'm going to go back to Gomez. The way they kind of explain it there, the way I've always read it is, it's almost like circular logic. Like, the horsemen exist because these things exist, and these things exist because the horsemen exist. Mm-hmm. I don't think they can kill the horsemen. It's almost like they're depowered. Mm-hmm. And because we saw Lucifer in the other episode trying to raise death, but like, surely he should already exist in the world. Like, why is he having to summon death?
True. Mm-hmm. Well, it did say in that episode that they had locked death away.
But they haven't, though, because okay, anyway. And this is what I think, it's like super. I feel like they should have explained it as the seals, etc., that they're breaking to manifest, that they're manifesting them as physical beings to enhance their power, rather than like, oh yeah, like no famine existed until the apocalypse began. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or like, yeah, death is gone.
And also because they are relying on revelations to show the apocalypse beginning, they have to have the horsemen because they're in the revelations.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, I like the circular, I do like the circularness of it, and like how that works. I think that's a better way of thinking of it, because you're personifying something that already exists. And yeah, the apocalypse just basically like makes them become actual people, who then spread that thing more quickly than it would normally.
Right. Yeah. Because the war appears on a star. That's if I remember correctly. But it doesn't really say how famine. He just, I mean, Cass says it, but it's like, you know, just that he'll arrive on a black steed.
Yeah.
So it's not like he came in from somewhere, if you know what I mean.
Right, yeah, I think it must be them appearing as people rather than ideas. Like a tulpa, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, all these things are tulpas. Again, like Supernatural is a tulpa in itself. But yeah, I like it. It's just interesting how they choose to do these things. And like different, I love this kind of biblical stuff. I love things that they do around revelations and media, because I think it's so interesting how people try and portray all these different like ideas.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway.
So we cut to a hotel room and Sam is doing the old Winchester wipe. He's at a sink, like wiping his face. That's what I'm calling it from now on. And so Dean's like questioning Cass, like famine, and Cass is eating while talking to him. I don't know why, but like Cass is so animated in this episode. His facial expressions are really good. He also becomes really like ambivalent about their situation, like other than getting his cheeseburgers. Because Sam says, oh, what, this whole town is just going to eat, drink and screw itself to death. And Cass is like, yeah, we should stop it. He's almost like a stoner or something, like on these burgers. So, you know, Dean says, well, you know, War got his mojo from this ring and we cut it off and he just like ran away. And everyone else was fine afterwards. So like, let's do that. So they agreed that they're going to chop him down. They're going to track him down and chop off his finger. That's pretty much their whole plan. Like, Cass like finishes his burger and he looks in the bag like, ooh. Sad times. And Dean says, what are you, the Hamburglar? It's such a reference. Hamburglar doesn't even exist anymore.
No.
Sad times. What a world we live in with no Hamburglar.
Though I can live without Ronald McDonald, to be honest, so that's fine.
It's so creepy. It's so creepy. Cass says, I've developed a taste for ground beef. And Dean says, well, have you tried to stop it? And Cass is like, well, I'm an angel. I can stop whenever I want. I'm like, okay. Dean seems like almost annoyed at Cass. I don't know, like, it's something he can't really help at this point. He's just like, what are you doing? It's some kind of weird exacerbate, like, he's really I can't say the word.
Exasperated.
He's exasperated with him, yeah. So Dean's like, okay, Sam, let's go. Let's like chop off Famine's finger. And Sam's like, I can't because I'm hungry for it.
He's so dramatic in this episode.
He really is. He's just like peak Sam Winchester like drama. Maybe he's also hungry for attention as well as demon blood.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, you know, Dean's like demon blood and Sam's like, yeah. And again, Dean's like he's not like disappointed or anything. He's just like, oh, for goodness sake.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
Yeah. So, you know, he says to Cass, like, get him out of here, like, beam him somewhere else, and, you know, get him away from this problem. But Cass says, because he's already infected, basically, you know, it doesn't matter where he is, he's going to be affected by the demon blood. Mm-hmm. I still maintain they still should have zapped Sam away, because surely the taste for demon blood is only going to get worse in a town full of demons.
Yes, this is true.
Like, send him to the woods where there's no demons. But no, keep him here where there are lots of demons. It's fine. I mean, it's a good thing they did, I guess.
Yeah.
So Sam's like, okay, lock me down, you know, before you go. And Dean cuffs him to the bathroom, like a pipe in the bathroom under the sink.
I'm like, how was this locking him down?
Surely, like, Sam can get out of handcuffs pretty easy.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna like chain him to a chair or something.
I also feel like me, little like 5'4" me, I feel like with enough willpower, I could eventually pull a pipe off a wall. So Sam is a big dude, like for sure he can.
The thing is, the way pipes and sinks are, you literally can just unscrew it. Like you're probably gonna hurt your hand and like to try and get a grip on it, but eventually you're gonna get it enough, especially in like a motel. Like pretty sure they're not doing a lot of maintenance on this stuff. It would not be that hard for him to get out.
And Sam definitely knows the thing like where you can like dislocate your thumb and like pull it through the cup. Like he definitely knows how to do that. Yeah. I thought he was gonna do that at one point. So he's staying there, they're going, and Sam's just like, be careful, hurry. And they just leave. Oh, Cass blocks the bathroom with a wardrobe, as like casually. It's quite good.
Yeah. It's like tips of the fingers, just like...
This scene was dumb, and it's a very bad... I don't know, this whole thing about like, demon blood, leave me here, was very... I don't know.
It's kind of right up their alley though, really, isn't it?
It really is. I love it. So they go back to the medical centre and they ask about the coroner, but unfortunately he died. He drank too much, which is clearly a like previous problem of his. And so the guy who explains this says he drank himself to death, and Cass is like, it's famine. It like wasn't death. He did, you know. And Dean's actually like, damn, I really like that guy.
Yeah.
So they're going to wait for a demon to come get his soul because he was marked by famine, and then follow the demon to where famine is. It's a solid plan, I guess. I feel kind of bad that they're putting the nice coroner's soul in jeopardy.
That's true. Yeah.
It is what it is. So they wait in the car together. I don't know why this scene cracks me up every time. Cass is eating another hamburger.
Are you serious? You should make me very happy.
It's just so sweet.
It's so sweet. And I think it's one of the first times we've seen Cass smile with like teeth. So Dean asks how many he's eaten. He's like, well, I lost count. It's in the low hundreds. But then he questions Dean on where his hunger is, because he should have been infected by now by famine.
Hey, when I want a drink, I drink. When I want sex, I go get it. Same goes for a sandwich or a fight.
So, you're saying you're just well-adjusted?
He says, God, no. He says, I'm just well fed. Which, so he's basically saying, like, he's living such a hedonistic lifestyle that he's unaffected by famine. Which Cass should have known if Cass wasn't distracted by eating burgers. I feel like he should have known that this was bullshit, because all Dean is want, right?
That's true. That's very true. What I was going to say also is, do you think this is like, so imagine the apocalypse goes through and we get the the future that was in that episode. Is this the conversation that clicks with Cass, that like, oh, if I want these things, I can just go have them? Because basically Dean's attitude in this is, or like saying, you know, when I want a drink, I drink. When I want sex, I have it. Goes with, that's basically Cass in the future.
You're so right. You can see the direct influence that Dean had on Enver's Cass.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And also that, like, Cass isn't very good at, I mean, I know he's affected by famine here, but you feel like he should be slightly above it because he's an angel. But he's also like, he's not bothered by it at all.
Yeah. And he even says, you know, this makes me very happy. So giving into his hunger or his wants, he knows that it makes him happy.
Yeah. We also all agree, right, that Cass and Dean were definitely banging in an end first, right? Like the.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, good.
There's no question about that.
Talking about, like, you know, giving into. But yeah, I'm surprised. I am still surprised that Dean doesn't question it more, like why he's not. I guess it's just like, I'm lucky. I mean,
and I guess because people still seem to be functioning.
yeah.
Like the guy that they talk to, like he's not affected by anything. So maybe there's just certain people that, like, it's not. I know it kind of goes against the idea of this episode for Dean, but again, how much of their interactions with the supernatural are just antagonizing them? So it's not really the truth.
Yeah.
So like, because he's, like said, interacting with people every day, there might be just some people who are just fine. Like they don't, not well adjusted, but there's nothing that like they crave to such an extent.
I mean, yeah, it could be absolutely true. Like, yeah, some people are just like, whatever. Yeah, so eventually they see the demon come out of the medical office with the black briefcase, and they follow him. We cut to Sam struggling already. Like, I'm a Sam. I like demons. And then he hears the wardrobe being moved, and he thinks it's Dean and Cass, but no, it's demons. They are happy to see him, like, I guess,
Captive,
like,
basically.
Yeah, bound up. Well, yeah, so what's interesting is that the demon actually, like, breaks his handcuffs, but I feel like Sam could have definitely still... I feel like he could have got out with them. I stand by it with enough force. They have a whole fight, and what becomes apparent in the fight, so originally it's like the demons are the threat. But as soon as they uncuff Sam is the threat. Like they were being protected from him because he manages to like get a bit of glass and like cuts this like demon's throat and like drinks her blood. And when they like other demons like, whoa.
What did I just witness?
He literally like tries to pull him off and his like shirt rips. And he even like he grabs like a bit of wood and like goes to hit Sam with this wood, and then Sam turns around and scary sexy, he like pushes him against the wall. It's like, wait your turn. This is good. This is peak demon blood freak Sam Winchester. I love it. It's great. I wish he gave into demon blood more. It's funny. I'm sorry, Sam. But like his powers are so good. Like, come on. They are. So we go back to the Impala. Dean and Cass, I think this is where they started establishing their like weird buddy cop mentality when they're out on cases together, because these like conversations between them are just ridiculous.
Hey, Happy Meal. The plan.
I take the knife, I go in, I cut off the ring hand of famine, and I meet you back here in the parking lot.
He's like, well, sounds foolproof, and Cass just leaves. And it's literally not even 10 seconds, and he goes, this is taking too long. Like, I don't know why the comedic relief in this is so good, and it's all Dean and Cass. Yeah. So I love that he didn't wait, like, even just for, I don't know, Cass to do something before he just got out of the car. So he walks into the restaurant and he's shouting, Cass, Cass! And Cass is just like eating meat off the floor, like out of a tray or something. I don't even know what it was, like just raw beef. It's gross. And yeah, Dean instantly gets jumped. Like, the plan was bad, guys. Maybe
the plan was bad.
It was bad.
What's really funny for me is that when you're seeing Cass on the floor, like eating off the floor, I was like, "Oh, puppy." He
does like a puppy. Yeah. Why are they so inept together? Like, it's so good.
I don't even know. They bring out the worst of each other.
They do. I'm looking forward to analysing the rest of their plans through this season, because like and like the show now, and be like, maybe when Cass and Dean get together on a hunt, like, it's always bad.
So we cut to Famine and Dean. They're having a conversation. Dean gestures to Cass, saying, "You know, what did you do to him?"
You sick your dog on me. I just threw a mistake.
So that's probably where the puppy like vision came from. So, and Dean's like, "So this is your big trick, making people cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs." And Famine's like, "Well, it doesn't take much, hardly a push. Oh, America, all you can eat all the time. Consume, consume. A swarm of locusts in stretch pants." The way he says all of this, though, is so... I don't know. Like, it feels... Watching it and, like, hearing it, it feels almost painful for him to speak. Right? Because, like, you know when you get really, really dehydrated and, like, really thirsty? Like, in your mouth and, like, throat really starts to hurt. I feel like that's probably how he is, like, all the time.
Yeah. You're right. It's like, yeah, he's like desiccated, you know? It also begs the question, is the apocalypse only happening in America in this universe?
Well, you said that it is, because remember, what's his name? Jesse went to Australia or wherever.
Yeah, you're right. Again, I'm going to make the reference to Godot. I'm so sorry. Is that, like, the original premise of that is that, like, the Antichrist is supposed to be in America, and then, like, because he stays in England, it, like, doesn't go to plan, because, you know, the apocalypse always happens in America, because, like, of course it does. It's the most important country on earth.
Even though I live here, but
Hunger doesn't just come from the body, it also comes from the soul.
And And Dean says, well, it's funny because it doesn't seem to be coming from mine. And he says, yes, I noticed that. Have you ever wondered why that is? How you could even walk in my presence? I love Dean's response of like saying, well, I think it's because of my strength of character. Like,
No, Dean.
no.
You fold like a stack of cards. It's true. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. Famine like goes up, rolls closer to him because he's in like an electric wheelchair, and he puts his hand on his chest and says, I disagree. That's one deep, dark nothing you've got there, Dean. Can't fill it, can you? Not with food or drink, not even with sex.
And lie to your brother, lie to yourself, but not to me. I can see inside you, Dean.
How many people have said that to him?
I know, right?
I can see how broken you are, how defeated. You can't win, and you know it. But just keep fighting. Just keep going through the motions. You're not hungry, Dean, because inside you're already dead.
Whoa, dude, so deep. I don't know why
So
this feels
deep.
like, this like, is it, this hashtag like, I'm 15 and this is deep. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah.
Sorry.
This actually really reminded me of Once More with the Feeling.
Yes.
This whole this is Buffy in this entire episode.
You are so right. Yeah. But the difference is what, that Dean was happy in hell. How dare they pull him out of hell? He was really good at torturing people. I mean, he was really good at it.
I would absolutely love to see that episode done with the Supernatural cast.
Oh, man. I wish they'd done a proper musical episode. Like, I wish fan fiction was good, but I would, yeah. Dean singing like,
and having full choreography,
we were robbed.
yes,
Robbed
we
for
were
15 years, and we never had a dance number. Oh, wait, Dean did one. Garth and Dean, they did one dance
That's
number.
true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
I mean, this is kind of interesting. So, do you think
It's not,
Dean's...
though.
It's not, like, you're right. Like, we kind of know that Dean's been broken since he came back from hell, because, I mean, like, who goes to hell and comes back fine?
Right, exactly.
I guess the implication is maybe, like, his soul is stained in some way by his time in hell, or damaged, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is, like, the fact that Dean's soul is dark and there's nothing there surely would mean that he would be more affected by it, because he would be trying to fill that hole more than
Right.
anybody.
Yeah, because this is it. Like, Dean does want things. Like, he wants family. He wants, like, love and stuff. The only way I could see, like, famine manifesting for Dean is, like, absolute, maybe, like, obsession of keeping Sam safe. But it doesn't really, at all in this episode, he shows no real, like, extra concern for Sam or anything.
For anybody, really.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, maybe, I guess Famine's right. Like, maybe he's just so defeated that he actually doesn't, he's done. He's like, almost like checked out. He's almost like going through the motions of being a hunter and caring about things. But yeah, there's not, like, he knows that they've already lost, essentially.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's,
But at the same time, like, his speeches that he gives, I do think are from the heart.
I do too.
When he's talking about being a blood, junkie, blood junkie, somebody without a GED and 10 cents to his name. I think he truly believes that, like, though they have nothing, they'll persist, or they'll, I don't know, just be a nuisance.
Right. Dean at his core is just like a nuisance. It's the whole Cass line where it's like, I annoyed a cosmic entity so much that it threw me out. Right, that's Dean as well. They all do it. They irritate the universe. I don't know. I guess the problem is like famine is such a big force in this episode that they needed someone to be immune.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, I was gonna say, if it wasn't anything else, like I guess Dean, they could have brought up like his bloodlust. I guess that comes out in the Mark of Cain, right, storyline.
Yeah,
and
that's
that kind
true.
of could have worked for this episode too, of like what wanting to go off on the demons. I'm not sure. The thing is, like, I get again, this like doesn't really with a lot of things this episode, it doesn't really get resolved. Like,
No.
what happens to Dean? Like, when does he manage to get over? I mean, he doesn't really. That's the whole point of that. Like, why we're kind of annoyed at this show is that there is no resolution to his character arc, really.
Right. No.
But there kind of is. It annoys me sometimes because sometimes we watch these episodes and I'm like, I precisely realise why they killed Dean at the end. And it's this line, because he says, you just keep fighting, just keep going through the motions. So for him to give up at the end of Supernatural and say, well, I'm going to stop fighting and just like let it end is almost a resolution to his character arc. It's not a good one.
No. But it is one.
And also that same message could have been played out in a different way, to always, to keep fighting the big bad and like constantly struggling against the universe. I don't know. I thought it when I was watching it, I was like, oh, is this constantly what they're like trying to do? But yeah, anyway.
No. We then hear Sam say, let him go. And Famine turns around and there's Sam with blood down his face. And Dean's like, Sammy, no. I will say, for this last like part of the episode, the apathy is gone.
Yeah.
For Dean. Because his concern for Sam is so evident on his face. Like, he had an opportunity in the last part of this episode to actually act. Like, because he sees the knife on the floor. But all he does is stare at Sam the entire time. He does nothing. He can't do anything. So that's... An emotion came, but it wasn't a helpful one.
Well, it plays into the fact that he's like hopeless, right? It's like...
True.
It's just... He's seeing it all play out in front of him. Because he knows, like, by going into the future, he knows that Sam's eventually going to say yes to Lucifer for some reason. And then he flies into this restaurant covered in blood with these demonic powers. And he's just seeing, like, a reflection of Lucifer walk in.
Yeah.
And the problem is I think that Dean knows Sam too well. I fully think he can see how Sam would give in, thinking that he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And feel that he's righteous and justified in doing it. Just like this.
Especially after this.
Yeah.
Especially after this. Because, so basically what happens is Famine explains that he sent the demons expecting him to eat, like, feed off of them. He then presents 5 other demons. Instead, he uses his powers to he takes the souls out, I guess. I guess that's what the black smoke is.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't completely exorcise them because they're sort of laying on the ground.
Yeah.
Famine then eats those. Sam tries to then attack Famine, and
Your power doesn't work on me.
You're right. But it will work on them.
and he basically like explodes Famine from the inside out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, while all this is happening, it's cutting between Dean, Sam, and Cass. Cass is still on the floor, just like eating.
Yeah.
And like I said, Dean looks at the knife, like he could have picked it up and attacked when they were all distracted by Sam, but he doesn't. He just stares at him. Yeah, and as Famine like dies, you see Sam's nose bleed, and Dean just like is in shock, and Cass is also like, now that Famine's influence is gone, Cass is back to normal.
He just like stands up.
Yeah.
He's like, hi, I'm here now. Yeah. But I think this is it. Like you say, he doesn't intercede at all because he doesn't have any, I don't know.
And the only reason why they defeated Famine was because Sam had his powers back.
Yeah. And he did something with these powers that was way beyond anything he's done before.
Yeah.
That was huge. Like taking 5 demons out of once, then pulling them physically out of Famine to like explode him. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, Sam hasn't been able to do that before. And that was just from the power of like 1 demon's worth of blood. No, about 2 demons worth of blood.
So I think he kills the other one though. So he only drank the woman demon.
I mean, the final scene of this, it kind of goes into it a bit more, I guess, with Dean's reaction, because we just instantly cut to Bobby's basement and can hear Sam screaming because he's having to detox again from this demon blood. And he's like screaming like, help me, please, like help me, like let me out. And Cass is standing with Dean and says, it's not really him in there, like not, it's not. And Dean says, yeah, I know. Cass says, Dean, Sam just has to get out of his system, then he'll be, and Dean says, well, I just need to get some air, and walks out into the like scrapyard between all the cars, the broken, beat down cars.
Yeah. Metaphor, I think so.
I think so. I see you. And he, God, this is so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
He prays, I guess, to God, to the universe, and it's just like like crying.
I need some help. Please.
And then the episode just ends with him pleading to the sky for some help, I guess, to get him through the apocalypse and to get him through Sam. He's gonna say yes to Lucifer, like it's an inevitability.
Yeah. Do you know what this reminded me of? The phone call to John.
Yes, 100%. Yes, 100%. I just think, yes, it is.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same because he's pleading to an absent father who's not going to respond to him.
No. Ugh. That part of the episode broke me. Oh my God.
One thing I do love for Dean is that he does eventually get to confront Chuck almost about this thing.
True.
Yeah. He didn't manage to ever confront John about it, so at least he got to confront Chuck about it, although Chuck's a dick.
So is John, so it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. It's exactly the same. Like,
Yeah.
his facial expressions are almost exactly the same. The only difference is the location and the time of day. Like, it's ridiculous. They must have paralleled that on purpose. Surely.
Yeah, they must have.
Must have. Come on, Ben Edlund. I believe in you. I believe in you. Yeah, it's hard, this episode. It leaves it on such a somber note. They haven't really gained anything. I mean, they killed Famine. I guess they saved the people that were under his influence, which are probably a lot of people. So they did save a lot of people in this episode. But at what cost? Sam having to go through detoxing again, which nearly killed him last time. And Dean being told that he's got a big black pit in his chest that, he can't fill.
Nothing will fill.
Yeah. Wow. Don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's dark days.
It is dark days.
Yeah. That's season 5. This is season 5.
So to kind of go back to what you're saying about season 5, like it being the best season, it's moments like this that make it so good. Like, yeah, we don't really get the answers that we really want, but it also makes us think about the characters in such a much more 3-dimensional way.
Yeah.
That's what makes this show so good. And I think that's the reason why we're still angry about it.
I think it is because we spend so long with these characters and they do have such nuance sometimes that they feel like real people. I think that's the thing. Like I'm watching at the moment like Station 19 in Grey's Anatomy, which is like still on the TV, like Grey's is, and it started at the same time. And I feel like the characters in that show, it's very like melodramatic and they're very like two-dimensional. Like you always know how they're going to react to a situation. Whereas like sometimes when you're watching Supernatural, you're like, well, what are they going to do? Like, do you know what I mean? Because they feel like actual realized characters. But sometimes they do things and it's like, why are you doing that? But also like it makes complete sense for there are moments where this doesn't happen. I'm looking at you, season 9.
Of course.
But yeah, that's what makes Supernatural good. I think it's because they are Sam and Dean are like fully realized people that with like hopes and dreams, and they're very flawed. I think that's it as well.
Yeah, that's very true.
I say it's also stuff that people can relate to, like the whole like absent father thing through the whole of Supernatural. Like so many people can relate to that. I think that's what makes them so good.
Right, exactly.
This is a good episode. It's one I go back and rewatch. Just, if anything, to watch Misha eat a bunch of hamburgers.
And for him to pop up right in front of Dean.
I always forget that's this episode. Like, it goes for such a wild, like, swing, I feel like, halfway through this one. Because you go like, oh, this is a fun Cupid case, to like, oh my god, it's famine.
Yeah. It's actually a horseman of the apocalypse.
Yeah. Which I guess is like what happened. It's almost like they were trying to blindside you with this episode. Like, oh, this is just a filler episode. And it's like, oh no, this is plot. How we got you. We got you watching plot. So this is episode 14. So we're past the halfway point, which I think we said previously. Like we did the mid season finale already.
Yeah.
I can't remember the back end of this season. I don't know why. It's really fuzzy to me. What's the next episode?
The next one is Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Oh no, this episode is terrible.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Oh, yeah. If you thought this episode was sad, just you wait.
Yeah. I can't wait. Oh no. Oh well, it'll be good.
Yeah.
Bobby's back, which means it's going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm. We get to meet Jodie.
Oh, this is Jodie?
Yeah, this is Jodie's episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she got introduced so early.
Mm-hmm.
And she survived. Wow.
Right, yeah. I feel like she doesn't turn up again for a little while after this. But yeah, this is where we meet Jodie. So it's a good episode. It's a plot episode.
Well, I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm really excited now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I don't know there's not really much else to say about this episode. Go watch it again. If you want to go feel sad, and then if somebody is clever enough, maybe use some AI stuff. Go make Jensen sing like "Through the Fire" from Once More with Feeling.
Yeah. Oh my god, yes. Yes. Please. That like sing app thing. I need to go do that now. That'd be so good.
Maybe so I'm thinking of convention stuff, questions to ask Jason Manns, because I didn't really know what to ask last time. So I'm maybe start like planting the idea of doing covers of that episode.
Yes, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe in the gold panel, if I can get a question, I can say, "Hey, Jensen, how do you feel about doing Once More with Feeling?"
Please, like, come on. Also, like, considering your massive talent for singing, why did you not insist on a more musical episode, my dude?
Well, we kind of we kind of know that already because he said that he was like embarrassed about singing like at conventions and stuff.
I know, but like now you could do it. Can we have like a special? Can we, for like the 10th anniversary of like the end of Supernatural or something, do a one-off musical episode of them all in heaven? Like, hey. That'd be
Yeah.
pretty good. Right. I don't know.
It would be good. And like it has to be original songs though, because obviously we've had the karaoke night on season 15 where he sings with his buddy, Hunter buddy. Was it? Yeah, that was 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be original Supernatural songs.
We want original Supernatural songs. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, that's good.
Do it in the Winchesters. You know, we'll hope that it gets picked up by Netflix or HBO or whatever, Hulu, Disney. And, you know, Disney loves a musical number.
They do.
Have the Winchesters do a musical episode.
There you go, look, people, if you need any incentive to hashtag save the Winchesters, it's that in 5 seasons, maybe they'll do a musical episode.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think this is the end of the episode, and therefore I would like to thank the Pixel Agora for his wonderful artwork for our podcast, because it's blinking awesome. You can buy it on Redbubble, because you should, and you can, and some of the proceeds go back to the artist. If you want to come talk to us about episodes of Supernatural, like that's what we're here for, you can contact us on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram. We are Escaping Purgatory Podcast, or just Escaping Podcast on Twitter, because it was too long otherwise.
Exactly. Well, this week we made our way through a small town. We were starving for food. We ate too much. And then we exploded. Hopefully next week we'll find our way out.
Kablamo. Bye.
Bye.